Assalamu my dudes, and welcome back to PLB Green. This is my 3-foot fish tank. It's got a breeding pair of neon blue acaras in it. They're hiding right now. I want to add a aquaponic style garden to this setup. Outside I've got this turtle pond, and I realised it had a lot of algae growing in it and the water got murky pretty quick. I put these 2 tubs on top and a pump with pond plants, and look how clear the water is now. This is a few months after I installed the aquaponics. I love this setup. I love the noise of the aquaponics. I love the clearness of the water. It's just a really good vibe. So I've decided to do the same thing with my fish tank. This is a 3-foot piece of bamboo, half bamboo, that I bought from Bunnings. A couple of hooks, some cable ties, some lava rock, some mesh, and some pond plants. To start off, I'm going to drill holes into the half piece of bamboo, and I'm just going to use the cable ties to strap on the metal hooks. You can see the one on the left there already done, and here I go with number 2. These hooks will just attach the piece of bamboo to the back of the fish tank. Because this half bamboo is going to be a planter of sorts and filled with lava rock, I don't want the lava rock spilling out the ends, so I drilled a few holes into the ends of the bamboo. And again, with the cable ties, I'm just going to strap on some little screens of the mesh. This will help prevent the lava rock from spilling out. I want to keep the junctions between the cable ties rather small, because the lava rock I'm using is small and I don't want it to fall out. Now it's time for install. Going to measure it up and dip by dip under the tank brace, hooking the bamboo onto the back of the tank. At the moment, the bamboo strip floats. It's quite buoyant. That's not a bad thing. The lava rock and the plants will do fine bobbing on top of the water. Over time, the bamboo will become waterlogged and sink down, and the hooks will come into favour. With my turtle pond out the front, the outlet of the pump feeds straight into the aquaponic gardens. I wanted to try the same thing with this setup, so I put the outlet of the external filter into the end of the bamboo, trying to push the water through and just get that beneficial bacteria stirred up. Time for the substrate. These bags of stone you buy at hardware stores, they actually come with little punctured holes throughout. So if you just stick your hose in the top of the bag, leave it running for 5 minutes, all of that dusty sediment will wash off naturally. You don't have to tip it out and go through it all and do the grind. We're finally up to planting, my favourite part. I'm going to do a few different layers in this aquaponic garden. My bottom layer is going to be this grass, and the first thing you have to do is wash off all of that soil. That soil is basically potting mix, and you do not want that in your tank system. Be very thorough if you can. Wash off as much of the soil, if not all of the soil. Clean the roots off. Just make sure they are spotless. This is going to be a 3-tiered canopy. I'm working on my top layer now, the top canopy, this large leaf aquatic plant. Again, just washing off all of the potting mix, making sure they are clear of all of the dirt. The mid canopy is going to be this smaller leafed plant. This stuff spreads like wildfire. I'm going to be breaking it up similarly to that big leaf canopy. And this is my selection as a whole. Looks pretty good. I'm looking forward to planting this out and seeing how they work together in harmony. I'm now adding a bottom layer of that lava rock substrate. It's very clean, just putting that hose in the top of the bag and leaving it running for 5 minutes has made it dust free. Then I grab small handfuls of the lava rock and hold little bunches of each of the plants above the bamboo strip and just try and stabilize them and make sure they're standing on their own within the lava substrate. I work my way backwards from the tallest plants down to the lower growing ones because I know that the taller plants need the most stability in the lava rock. Working on the mid plants, I can feed the lava rock into the gaps and just make sure all of the roots are covered. The taller plants take more lava rock to stand upright, and when I get down to the grasses, they need barely any lava rock to stand up. Their roots are shallow, and I can just kind of wiggle them into the substrate and make sure they're stable. The last step of the build is just to put in small handfuls of the lava rock to finalize the stabilization of all of these plants. The roots will grow in over time, so you don't need to be too pedantic, but just be thorough. Here's a little time lapse of my neon blue Acara going nuts after I left the install for about 30 minutes. They seem to like the shade of the installation, and I guess they're just enjoying themselves. This is the build 1 week later. I've given a chance for the plants to grow in just a little bit, and they're looking pretty lush. Nothing has died back, which I'm impressed with. No acclimation seemed to be needed. Out of the 3 plants, the only one that slightly struggled was the grass at the bottom. Maybe it wasn't getting enough light, but I think it's going to be okay. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time on PLB Green.